our luck. We literally are walking into MetLife, and John's like, "Oh, great!" He's like, "We just got permanently banned from TikTok." What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. It feels like ages since I've done that. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since we've been back. We're missing Caleb right now. He said he'll be joining us soon. Hopefully he does. But yeah, it's been a while, guys. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. We kind of wanted to give a little recap of what's been going on since we have been off of YouTube for such a long time. I guess we first got to start off with the Giants Cowboys game. So there's a lot of content that we shot during that game. We interviewed people in the tailgate. We vlogged some of the trip. We played a bunch of YouTube games that'll be up. But the most important thing, the craziest thing for all of us, was we got to meet some of the Dorm Debate fans. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that was like, I know we were talking about it the day before. Like, oh, imagine if someone came up to us and like 3 or 4 people came up to us that day. I want to name them because the first kid, Liam came up to us. We were packing all our stuff into the trunk in the parking lot. And for me, I know you guys can talk about it, but I'm packing stuff up and someone's like, Dorm Debate. And I'm thinking, oh, they probably just read our beanies. And then John, I think I overheard you. You're like, you know who we are? And he's like, yeah. And it was like, what? It just like blows my mind. I don't know what happened with you. Like, tell your story about it.
Yeah, it was the same thing. We were just like packing stuff in the trunk, and I kind of like saw some like right as he walked over, I like looked over, and he looked at like me, and he looked at like whoever else was there, and he was like, Dorm Debate? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, wait, do you know who we are? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, wait, how do you know us? And he's like, YouTube. I'm like, no way. He's like, yeah. It was just so funny. I did not think that somebody was gonna walk up to us.
Yeah, and I know, Jonathan, we were interviewing people, and the first people that you interviewed, John, he like came up to us after we shot the thing, and he's like, so like, what are your guys like accounts or whatever? And I just like named off, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm like, yeah, we're called Dorm Debate, whatever. And he's like, I've definitely seen your stuff before. And I'm like, really? He's like, oh yeah, like probably on my For You page or something. But I've definitely I recognize the name. I'm like, no way is that possible. Like, that is insane to me. I can't like compute in my head. I don't know
It is crazy.
how was it for you, Jonathan? I know you were all happy because there was like more Cowboys fans than Giants fans at the game. So you felt right at home.
I felt right at home. It was like a home game. I mean, literally every like place we went to, they had like 1 or 2 Cowboys fans there, and there are a lot of Giants haters there, but I think overall there was a lot like more Cowboys fans there. I felt bad for Caleb though. He was getting a lot of heat from everybody since it was the NFC East. People were like, Eagles suck, people were like, what are you doing here? This guy's lost,
Yeah.
I felt bad for Caleb. Caleb received the most heat out of all of us.
Yeah, it was bad. I did not expect that. I thought since the Eagles were like pretty mediocre this year that no one would really hate him. But I guess since like he'll probably explain it when he comes on, but he explained it well in one of our segments. And he's like, the Giants are so bad that they can't say anything about the top dog, the Cowboys.
Right.
And the Eagles aren't at the top. So the Cowboys fans can say stuff about the Eagles and the Giants fans can say stuff about the Eagles. And then he's just like the third party that just gets like absolutely shit on.
Yeah.
So that's what happened when we were in the parking lot and the tailgate and stuff. And that was super fun. John went around and interviewed, I think 3 or 4, groups of guys. And that was super fun. That was awesome. I really hope that we could do that again. Cause if we go to like a 4:00 game or like an 8 p.m. game or something, we have like all that time to to film and stuff. But of course, it was a 1:00 game. We also had troubles with the parking tickets. We had to go to Staples to print out parking passes because they don't accept digital ones. Like all this stuff happened. We got there kind of late, which it happens. It was Jonathan and I's first NFL game. John, I think it was probably your like third or fourth, right?
Yeah, my small second.
That was it. Only your second?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just kind of like new. It was good to, get the rust off a little bit, and hopefully we can go to another one next year. But so then we get into the game, and this is just our luck. We literally are walking into MetLife, and John is like, all right, I'm posting this video, but it's, this video I'm posting to TikTok is taking a long time. Like, it's just like this Wi-Fi here sucks. Finally, it goes up, and he's like, all right, I'm going to check and see like how the video is doing. And we're going up like the escalators, and we get to the top, and John's like, oh, great. He's like, we just got permanently banned from TikTok. And it just says log out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So like we're at the juxtaposition of like us being so excited to go to the game and then being like, here, your TikTok account's banned. It's like, I don't know what to feel right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, obviously it was a mistake because the night before, if you guys were watching the live, you got banned from the live.
Yeah, it was definitely a mistake. We don't know how it happened, but we got banned from the live, and we got from the live. It said that we were performed illegal activities, which we definitely don't do. All I do is give advice on fantasy football players. But then when we got banned on Sunday, it didn't give us any reasoning. Just said, you're gone. Just log out. So
exactly. So
yeah, the person that banned our TikTok was probably like a Cowboys fan. They probably saw John's jersey. They're like, not this week. Let's ban him for this week.
Yeah, let's just for a week, let's just get rid of him. I can't see him.
We literally still to this day have no clue what happened. So we'll talk about the ban later on, but then we get into the stadium. Luckily Caleb was there because Caleb was just so level-headed. He's like, look, guys, we're at the game. Let's enjoy it. There's nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, all right, if Caleb wasn't here, I'd be flipping shit right now. Like, I'd be so pissed. But he's like, there's nothing we could do about it. And I'm like, all right, you're right. Let's enjoy the game. We get to our seats. I post a little Instagram story that, we're there at the game in our seats. 5 minutes after that, two kids come running down, Kieran and Daniel. And super nice guys, and Liam too, super nice, like very respectful. Like Kieran and Daniel, they had great eye contact, shook my hand. I was like,
yeah,
amazing. Are you guys 20 or are you 10? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they were like very respectful, awesome kids. And we gave them beanies. We gave out 4 or 5 beanies. I think we have 1 left. So that was cool to like see people wearing dorm debate merch.
They all took they took their hats off and put ours on.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. These high quality beanies. I don't know where mine is. Right here. Literally, we might start selling this because these are high quality dorm debate beanies. They keep you warm. It was a warmer day than usual, but still a little bit chilly if you were in the shade.
Mm-hmm.
So those dorm debate beanies kept you nice and warm. But yeah, those kids are super nice. They came from like level 300. He's like, yeah, we saw your post and we booked it down here to like see you guys. Everyone asked you for advice. I just guys put that out there.
I did not think that. Jonathan hit that on the head. But just before we went into the game, Jonathan's like, John, I'm telling you, when people come up to us, they're going to be asking you for advice. I'm like, no, they're going to be too nervous. They're just going to be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then we'll part ways. But all of them, they're like, oh, nice to meet you. And then we're like, oh my gosh, how'd you hear about us? Or how'd you find us? And then they're like, oh yeah, we found you by this. And then they're like, so I'm in the fantasy playoffs. Like, what you got? And then I'm like, no way. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jonathan and I were joking the night before. We're like, oh yeah, they're gonna be like, can I get a picture with John? But like hand me the phone, be like, hey, can you take this for me? But no, when Liam asked us for a picture in the parking lot, and I'm like, do you want all of us in it? or
Yeah.
just the time traveler here?
No, he's like, no, everybody.
That was so
But
nice.
it was funny because we have to post the clip because Jared, you took a video of me giving Liam advice.
Yep.
And it was not this past week, but it was the week before. And I told Liam to bench Jamar Chase and put Deonta Foreman in for him. And we have the video of what Liam's face looks like when I said that, but he's like,
Completely
he's
got
like,
it.
what?
He's
Like
like,
what? Bench
okay.
Jamar Chase for Deonta Foreman, a guy that like splits carries. And I think by the end of the game, Jamar Chase had what 2.3, and I think Foreman had like 15 or something like that.
It was
So we'll have
definitely the right pick. I'd turn off my heater. It was definitely the right pick for sure. But yeah, no, I got that on video. That'll be some of the content that we post. Yeah, I mean, so then obviously the game happens. The game was the least exciting part.
yeah,
Literally
really.
everything else was great. The game was okay. It was like it just your typical Giants game. I think
Yeah, really.
we kind of all expected it. I was a little hopeful that it would be high scoring shootout. Glennon 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Wasn't the case. But for Jonathan, this was like the happiest day of his life. Our seats were behind the Cowboys sideline. So if you just glanced around us, it was all a sea of Cowboys, and there were Cowboys chants. I'm pretty sure it was probably, I don't know, 75% Cowboys in the whole stadium.
Probably.
For sure.
But Jonathan, talk about, we were in the 4th row, super close. You got to see Dak Prescott. You got to see the Cowboys star, the uniform and all for the first time. How did it feel?
It felt really great. I couldn't believe my eyes when they came out of the tunnel and I saw them like live in person. We all aspire to be NFL players and football players. We want to go D1, but we don't realize how big these guys are. They're huge guys. Dak's a pretty big guy. Dalton Schultz, the tight end, he's a huge, massive guy. And so these are big boys we're talking about. It's not like backyard football where you can just throw the ball around. These guys mean business. And so, yeah, it was nice to see him in person. And yeah, I felt at home. There are a lot of Cowboys fans surrounding us. Every time they scored, we give each other high fives. Right? That was awesome. And it was, again, this was an away game for the Cowboys, and it felt like a home game. And so, yeah, it was fun. I think fans are fun. I love the camaraderie that sports brings. You don't know anybody, but you're all Cowboys fans, so you're like family. So I enjoyed it. It was my first game, and we were talking about it after. You can't go back now. We're on the 4th row, right? Always has to be 4th row or better now. So.
What are you trying to rip our pockets apart?
Yeah, always has to be better now.
You better subscribe to the Patreon, guys, because we're gonna need that money. Yeah, I mean, the seats when we first got there, so we didn't. Hopefully Caleb comes on, but we didn't tell Caleb exactly where our seats were. Well, we did. I guess he just forgot. So the whole time going up, we're like, oh, you see that top seat over there? That's probably where we're gonna be. You better bring your coat. It's gonna be a little windy.
Bring extra tissues because your nose is gonna bleed.
Yep. Yeah, we're way up there. So then we get in and we get our food, and John and I were like, oh, let's go to our seats, but we got to make it seem like they're not our seats. And we'll be like, oh, let's try and get like close to the field, maybe get some pictures. So Caleb's like, all right. So I guess at this point he kind of knew it was up because I had to show my ticket to the security. So he knew something was up. And then we get to like the 4th row and I videoed it, and he's like, his eyes, he's like, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah, these are our tickets, man. He's like, it's like, no way. Like, and even when I think of the 4th row, I mean, I thought farther back than that. I felt like we were in the 1st row. Yeah. It was so close. It was insane. It's so grateful that we were able to like rally up the money to go and do this, because it was like literally the best time ever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the game, Cowboys won. I will say, if we're going to do any NFL analysts or analysis of this game, it's that the Giants need a complete just rebuild, blow the whole thing up.
Blow it up.
I mean, everybody on offense should just be fired immediately. I'll guarantee you that in next week's game, it's going to be first down, second down, run up the middle. And then they're going to pass 3rd and 10. They're going to pass to like the 2 yards in front of them. And then it'll be 4th down. They punt it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need another coach. They need an offensive guru. They need somebody that will call the plays. They don't need somebody that's just going to spectate the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. They need somebody that's going to take control of this team, like a Doug Peterson. I know people still don't think he's good. I think he's a great coach. He shouldn't have been fired from Eagles. Maybe hire Doug Peterson. You need a guy like that that will take control of the offense and call the right plays. I think that'll be a successful team if they do that. You know?
What do you think of him getting interviewed for the Jacksonville Jaguars job?
I think that's good. I think that's good. Trevor Lawrence, it's been tough for him. He's been in a tough situation. So I think he still has to prove himself a little bit. But I think Doug Peterson will know the right direction the offense should go in. Right now, they don't really have an identity. Like, who's really the best player on the Jags right now? I can't answer that question.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's going to be a bit to figure out on his part, whoever gets the head coaching position. Because right now, like, they don't have any guys that will make plays. So that's why I was saying Urban Meyer, it wasn't really his fault. I know there's a cultural thing and stuff, but it's tough to call plays when there's nobody making plays.
What about the Texans this week? The Texans have Davis Mills. Cooks was on the COVID list. They had 12 other guys on the COVID list, and they put up 40 points on the Chargers. Yeah. So there's always things you could do. You need to motivate your team. And
David Mills, occasionally he can have really great games, but he's inconsistent. But kind of like Heineke, sometimes they have really great games, and they can't keep that up. The real champions, the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady's, they're consistent. They can consistently play well.
Right.
You need players like that. That's why the Houston Texans.
Trevor Lawrence hasn't even had a game like Davis Mills just had. So
exactly, yeah. I wish the best for him, because you look at Mac Jones doing pretty good, about to make the playoffs, right? You look at other rookie quarterbacks or second-year quarterbacks, and Trevor Lawrence, it's kind of tough. We had higher expectations for him, but I think next couple of years maybe he'll be able to turn around, but it's tough.
Yeah, a lot of people, I've seen this a couple of weeks ago. This is before Urban got fired, but people were like, "Is Trevor Lawrence, just in a bad system and a bad team, or is he like really underperforming?" He was the first pick. He's the least talked about first pick that I've ever seen.
Yeah. They had higher expectations for him. They thought he was going to come out to be like an MVP type caliber quarterback, and he's not ready for it. This is the NFL. It's different. It's not college. The plays aren't simplified. These are more complicated plays. You have to know and execute. So
we just got a NFL Game Pass. We'll have to start looking at some Trevor Lawrence footage to really see if it's his fault, or is he just trying to overperform to because he's down 40 and he's just forcing passes, and that's why he's has bad interception to touchdown ratio. I don't know. I guess with that being said, let's start to get into the playoff scenario. I know the last episode we kind of tried to predict, and that was about 3 weeks ago, and a lot of stuff's changed so far. I know most recently the Monday night game, Saints Dolphins. Jonathan and I were pretty high on the Dolphins. John, you're not so high on them. They got a tough ending schedule coming up. They have the Patriots and then the Bills, right?
They have Titans and then the Patriots.
Patriots. So those are two top teams, and I think they need to win out to make it.
Nothing's impossible, because didn't they lose 7 straight? Then they won 7 straight, right?
Insane.
That's insane. That's never happened before. That's never been happening before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they totally did a 180, and Waddle obviously is behind that flip.
Yeah,
100%. He, Jonathan, you drafted him in fantasy this year, dropped him, got him back on your team. Then you dropped him again. Now he's back on your team. But you did know that he was going to be a good player. I remember you saying he'd be in the talks for rookie of the year. So
yeah, I knew something was up when you have Devontae Smith winning the Heisman and Waddle gets chosen over him. Then you know that Tua knows something. Tua knows something. He's probably like, hey, this guy's way better than Devontae Smith. Let's get him. I like that guy. I was like, okay, then he's definitely gonna make an impact. Because they obviously got Tua's opinion since they're all from Alabama.
Yeah, that was really surprising. Even if they did ask Tua, like that's risky to be like, okay, we have the Heisman winner or Waddle. Like that's tough to pick not the Heisman winner, you know?
Yeah, that takes some guts.
Yeah,
and
it
so,
does.
And so yeah, I mean he's been their go-to guy. Tua got hurt during the season, so it was he didn't score as much points in terms of fantasy Waddle, but Tua came back, and Waddle's been that go-to guy. They realized that this guy can make plays in open space. You can't really cover him. People were trying to say, "Oh, why don't you put Lattimore or somebody on him?" I was like, guys, I'd like to see Lattimore, even though he covers the outside. I'd like to see Lattimore maybe cover Waddle and see what happens. Nobody can cover Waddle. He's too elusive. And so they try to find ways to give him the football, whether put him in the backfield as a running back, or sometimes he plays outside, 1 or 2 plays, he plays outside. He can play anything. He can't be guarded. He's an explosive player.
All right, everybody. So Jonathan had to hop off for the day, so he's got to go to a meeting. We all have jobs outside of dorm debate. Believe it or not, this is not our main income. So, duty calls. So, but we're still going to keep it going. Hopefully Caleb will get back on or will get on the podcast. I just texted him, so we'll see. But we're going to continue the playoff talk because, we were just talking about the Dolphins, but some other surprising teams. We got to talk about my Chargers. A very disappointing loss.
Super disappointing.
I mean, I couldn't believe it at home in Houston.
In Houston, giving up 41 to the Texans is pretty embarrassing. And it was embarrassing for me too, because I had the Chargers as my number 1 defense, and they actually had -4 fantasy points. So
oh my gosh.
That was pretty. I told some people I had the Eagles ranked number 2. They had ended up with a touchdown against the Giants, and I told some people to put the Chargers in over the Eagles, which they were probably not happy about. So the Chargers did let me down. Won't be counting on their defense anytime soon.
It's the one thing that I thought would improve from last year, getting a defensive head coach
exactly.
and getting Derwin James back.
Right.
And they look worse.
I think it's the linebackers. Like the linebackers need to take control. Like you guys have a decent your defensive line is not great, but you do have Bosa. Your secondary is good. Like you guys are good in the secondary. It's like you need that front 7 to be a little bit better.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say something, and probably Chargers fans won't like it. And I'll admit I'm not the most diehard Chargers fan, and I'm also a Michigan fan, so it does play into it a tiny bit. But is it just me, or is Joey Bosa like very underwhelming for the amount of money that we pay him?
I mean, he's been good though. His numbers are pretty good, right?
It seems like whenever they're like on prime time, you never hear like Joey Bosa with a 3-sack game. Like it just doesn't happen. Like maybe he affects the run game more than the pass, and that's fine. But even when we had Melvin Ingram on the other side and Joey Bosa on the right, it's like they're big names, but like, do they really produce that much? And like, I don't know. It's something that I just have watched since I didn't like Joey Bosa going in when they drafted him. So I've kind of just, kept my distance a little bit, and he played really well, I think, his rookie year and his second year. But I feel like there's either been a plateau, if not even a regression of his play for what we need, because we're a top AFC team, and he needs to be playing like a top D end.
Right.
And I feel like his name always just gets thrown around, but never when it's like comparing stats. Like you never see like him getting JJ Watt level stats or Chandler Jones stats.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. It's definitely frustrating because you do pay him an insane amount of money.
Yeah. But yeah, the Chargers were a big disappointment. They're opening the door for the Raiders right now. The Raiders play. Why does it always turns off, turns back on. Interesting. The Raiders, do they play? Who do they
They
play?
play the
Broncos?
Colts.
Oh, okay.
Colts.
They're screwed. They're screwed. Yeah.
Well, no, the Colts, as of right now, Wentz is looking like he's not going to be able to play. He
So
just
that's
got COVID.
Sam Ellinger from Texas
Yeah.
or
And
Philip Rivers
well, Rivers, I think, said no to coming out of retirement for them.
because he's got 11 kids to take care of.
Yeah, he doesn't have time for NFL.
He actually,
But,
you know what I heard? He's coaching a high school team now.
yeah, I did hear. Yeah, I heard that on the Manning cast.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Good for him. Good Chargers legend. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Raiders then? If they could pull off an upset, that means they'd almost snag that last spot, considering if the Dolphins lose. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things to consider, but the Raiders still in it after all of the craziness of this season gone on.
Yeah. So I think, okay, so let's assume that the Dolphins are going to lose to the Patriots. And I know
Sure.
that definitely could Dolphins could definitely win that game at home. But
Yeah.
I think most people would agree that the Patriots have a better chance to win that. So then the Dolphins would be 8-8 without, let's not take into account this game against the Titans. So we have to bank that one loss for the Patriots. Then the Raiders play the Chargers in week 17 or in week 18. So the winner of that would get that 9th win. The Chargers also play the Broncos this week. So I think the Chargers will probably win both games and go 10-7.
You'd hope.
Yeah, you can only hope with that defense. But
with I don't know if we had the same prediction, but I believe we had the same wild card up until that the third wild card spot. But
yeah,
me and you both had like Bills and Chargers locked.
right.
And then, but now it looks like the Bills could take over. They already are. They took over the AFC East right now.
Right. And as long as the Bills win the next 2 games against Falcons and Jets, which they did lose to the Jaguars, so they could lose to one of these 2 teams, but at home against Falcons and at home against Jets, I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to win the division because all they have to do is win those 2 games.
Yep.
And then
it was a very disappointing showing by the Patriots. I thought with a home game that they would just dominate. And, I don't know what to think with the Bills and Patriots because, the Patriots beat them in a blizzard when we already knew that the Patriots had a better run game. So the better run game was going to win that game. The Patriots obviously would win it. But now that it was like a nicer day in New England and, the passing game was the main focus, you saw Josh Allen was clearly like a better quarterback, better offense so far.
Right. So definitely.
I don't know. I think the Bills got it then. Unfortunately,
you're
right
definitely.
again. You called the Bills and it's frustrating. Now you've gotten the Chiefs right and the Bills.
Well, and I'm hopefully the Titans are definitely gonna make it. Well, the Titans, they've already won 2 of their 3 games since the bye.
Oh, yeah.
So
famous
it's gonna be an interesting game this week because the Titans play the Dolphins, and you and Jonathan were high on the Dolphins, and I was high on the Titans. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins won that game.
I'm telling you, man, the Dolphins look good.
They're playing really well right now.
I mean, they've played crap teams, but considering the quarterbacks that they've faced, it's been pretty bottom level.
Right.
But to be 0-7 or 1-7 or whatever they were to now being 8-7?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good for any.
That's very impressive.
Because I don't know what to think. In the beginning of the season, you thought they were, a bottom level team.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, now they're kind of like a mid-level. Okay, they're kind of like the Bears maybe. And now they're the last place in the wild card spot. And you're like, okay, are they they're better than Chargers right now?
Right.
like what the heck? That makes no sense. Because the Chargers had an easy game last week and they screwed it up. So for the Dolphins to win 7 straight against anybody is pretty good.
Right. Yeah. To win 7 straight, no matter who you're playing, is tough.
Yeah.
But
And
okay.
it's consistency. You always look for consistent teams.
Right. Exactly. So let me run down this list of who I think is going to be in the top 7 by the end of these next 2 games, and you tell me if you agree with me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So number 1, I think it's going to be the Chiefs. I think they're going to win both of the next 2 games. They're going to beat the Bengals, and I think they're going to beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to, let's say they go 13-4. They're number 1. Number 2, I'm going to say is the Bills at 11-6.
What are the Bengals?
9-6. So I'm saying the Bengals are going to lose to the Chiefs, but I think they'll beat the Browns and go basically 10-7.
That's fair. The Bengals, they're not the most consistent team. I get that they would only win one of the last 2.
Right.
So
Okay, so
I'll
we
take
got
the Bills. Take the Bills, yeah.
So Chiefs, we got Bills. Then I guess I think Bengals and Titans both win their division, but both end 10-7. Or no. Wait, no. The Titans, I think, are going to win one of the next 2. They'll beat the Texans. So then it would be Chiefs at 13-4, the Bills at 11-6, Titans at 11-6, and then Bengals at 10-7. Okay. Then
I'll agree with that. Although I don't like the Titans at all. I think they're a first round bounce.
they definitely could be for sure. Okay, so then the wild card, it's going to be the Colts at the number 1 wild card because they're going to beat the Raiders. I mean, Wentz might be out, but even then, even if they lose to the Raiders, they'll be 10-7 when it ends, when it's all said and done, because they're going to beat the Jaguars in the last week. So I think Colts are locked into that last spot or the first wild card.
The number in the wild card for the AFC is 10-7. If you're 10-7, I think you're making it.
Right. So then Patriots get in because Patriots just have to win one of the next 2 at least, and they play the Jaguars, so they're in. And then the last spot,
it leaves the
4
Dolphins.
teams at 8-7.
Holy cow!
So honestly, I think I know my pick for out of these 4. So who would be your team that you think is going to get that last spot? Basically,
as far as schedule goes, you would go with the Chargers because they play the Broncos and then they play who else they play last?
They play the Raiders.
Yeah, so the easiest schedule going forward. But then the Raiders have the Colts before the Chargers, and the Colts now don't have Wentz, so you don't know how that's going to be.
Right.
You imagine they just run the ball the whole game.
Right.
Ravens have the Rams. They're going to lose.
Right.
Dolphins have Titans. That's a winnable game for the Dolphins, and they got to play the Patriots.
Right.
So if you're just going off schedule, Chargers snag the 3rd spot.
Chargers, yes. Chargers do. Okay. So let's say Dolphins beat Titans this week, which definitely could do. Let's say Chargers beat Broncos. Let's just say Raiders beat Colts. Now we got 3 teams at 9-7.
Yep.
Actually 4 because the Colts would have lost to the Raiders.
Oh shoot, yeah.
So, but then the Colts played the Jaguars the next week, so that would push them in.
Yeah.
So then, basically, you have Raiders, Chargers, Dolphins going into week 18, needing a win. So Dolphins play Patriots, Chargers play Raiders, Raiders play Chargers. Who gets in?
Wow.
Basically, Dolphins. I'm pretty sure Dolphins have. Why did the Dolphins have the tiebreaker over the Chargers though, and the Raiders?
I don't know. It's very complicated. I think
It's probably strength of schedule or something.
Yeah, it's really, it goes down to divisional record as well. I don't know. It's super confusing, but
yeah. So basically,
as
at
of
that
right
point,
now, the Dolphins are in.
right?
That's dumb, but I think, yeah, realistically, I think what's going to happen is the Chargers are going to win out,
Right.
and the Dolphins will probably going to lose to the Patriots.
Right. It's
It's,
probably.
but I would love to see the Dolphins get in. And I'm a Chargers fan, but look, if you had a chance to seal it and you lose the Texans, I mean, let's go home. Let's just go
you
home.
you kind of just deserve it at that point.
Yeah, you can't beat the Texans. It's just embarrassing. So if there's any team that deserves it, especially after last year where the Dolphins won 10 games and they didn't get in,
Mm-hmm.
put them in. Put them in.
Yeah,
So,
it would definitely be a great story.
yeah. So I'm riding with the Dolphins right now. I'm sorry, Chargers fans, but that loss just pissed me off. And then we'd have to play. Ooh, okay, interesting. So would two would play 7, correct?
Correct.
Oh man, that's a nice. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay.
There's going to be some very good matchups in wild card round. None of the division leaders want to fall into that 4th spot to play the Colts because it seems like the Colts are going to end up there in the 5th spot.
It'll
So
be a rematch. If the Bills stay where they are, it'll be a rematch.
You better believe that the Bills are looking at the standings right now and they're crapping themselves. They're like, we cannot stay here. We have to win games. We're like, now we have to, if we lose to Falcons or Jets, we're screwed because we're going to have to play Jonathan Taylor again. And we don't want that.
He's a lot better now. And they have Wentz, who's a lot better.
He's better than he was when he scored 5 touchdowns on him.
Oh, no, I meant last year when they played him in the playoffs.
Oh.
And they had Phillip Rivers.
Right. Yeah. So either way, they don't want to play him.
Okay. And so just to kind of block off any other teams. So Ravens, you think Dunzo?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible they could beat the Rams. Like we've seen them beat top teams, and the Rams we've seen lose to okay teams. But Lamar still isn't back, and it's tough for me to say that Huntley would be able to win that game.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
but it is at home.
I just don't know. I think
they've lost 4 straight. They've lost 5 out of the last 7. That's rough.
What do you think of Tyler Huntley playing as good, if not better, than Lamar these past couple weeks?
I mean, it's crazy to see. In fantasy football, you love it because he plays exactly like Lamar. So if you have Lamar and he doesn't play, just pick up Huntley and put him in. So we saw Huntley get 35 fantasy points against the Packers, but in terms of actual football, he's pretty good. He's not a bad quarterback. I mean, I'd like the Giants to get somebody like him. But I mean, if you're asking me, should you start Huntley over Lamar? Not if Lamar's fully healthy, but if you want to save Lamar, make sure he doesn't hurt his career or anything, then, or you think he might be able to come back in the playoffs, I'd be fine with. I think Huntley, he could beat the Rams if he started. It's possible. He could.
I don't know. A lot of people were saying that Lamar, it doesn't look good for him, that Huntley is performing better than him in the offense. But I think it's just because Huntley and Lamar play the same game.
Right.
That obviously a player that's similar to Lamar would thrive in that type of offense because it was built around Lamar.
Right.
So it's not like they were built it around his IQ and something that's intangible. It's his physical play. Oh, like right. Huntley and Lamar are not the best throwers. Let's not have them sit in the pocket for 10 days. Like they're going to have some run plays. They're going to have some bootlegs of him running. It makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're getting a little ahead of themselves saying that they shouldn't extend Lamar Jackson, do like a 4-year extension.
Oh, no, that's crazy talk. I think part of it, obviously, we always talk about the fact that when backup quarterbacks go in, they really have nothing to lose. Like they're not expected to win any games. So Huntley can go out there and be like, I don't care that the other team's doubling Mark Andrews. I'm gonna keep throwing it to him. And then it's like, oh shit, like he's finding a way to get Andrews touchdowns. He's like using Bateman on deep throws and stuff. Like, and Huntley's just like firing it because he's like, I like they're not expecting me to win this game anyway. So
Yep.
he has a little bit more of like, I guess, free to throw it and do what he wants.
Yeah, and Huntley only has one win. You got to remember, Lamar is a top quarterback, MVP, because he wins games. I think he's the winningest quarterback out of that 2017 class.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, that is one of the most important, if not the stat that you need.
Yeah,
If you can win games, people are going to want you on your team, no matter
right.
what you do. If I don't care if he throws 8 interceptions
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
3
matter.
touchdowns, you won.
Yeah. When
You
the
just
fact is when he starts, you win. So start him.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as that extension goes, let's not overthink it here. He also
Yeah.
brought him to the playoffs back-to-back years. Actually, has it been 3 years in a row that he's brought him to the playoffs? I think so. It was
yeah.
he lost against the Chargers, then he lost against the the Titans last year.
Last year they beat the Titans.
Beat the Titans, lost to the Bills.
Yeah, something like that.
But then the year before, I think he made it too, because it was Lamar couldn't win a playoff game. Then last year he ends up winning his first one. But I think they made it 3 straight years. Let's double check that. But that's also something to be said. And with all the injuries, it's been a mess for him. I don't think you should weigh his stats from this year as, anything crazy. Let's move to the NFC real quick. I forgot to set my timer, so I have no clue how long we've been going.
Only, I think, 2 hours or something.
Our shortest one yet.
Yeah, wow, it is short.
No, NFC is a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
So Packers, obviously they're in. Cowboys, they're in. Rams, Cardinals, who do you like in that division?
Well, okay. Well, Rams, the last 2 games, they got Ravens and they got 49ers. And don't forget, they already lost to the 49ers 31-10.
Remember that stat? They're 0-5.
The Rams?
Yeah, 0-5 against the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that now. Okay, and the Cardinals get Cowboys Seahawks. Remember, the Cardinals did beat the Seahawks already, but remember that game last year against the Cowboys? It was a fun one to watch, so anybody can win that. But to answer your question, the Rams are 11-4, Cardinals 10-5. Based on how the Cardinals are playing, without Connor, without Hopkins, they've lost 3 straight. I'd have to say that the Rams are going to be able to hold on to the division.
Okay, so let's say the Rams get in, and then the Bucks, obviously. So that kind of seals up. And then
right,
you could say that the Cardinals have locked that wild card spot at the very least. So they're in the playoffs. So you can lock off those 5. Now is the fun part, because you have 49ers and Eagles at 8-7. Eagles just came off a big win against the Giants. Looks like they're doing really well. They're doing just enough to win the game. They go up against the Washington football team, and then I don't know who they face the week after that.
I think it's the Cowboys. Yep, Cowboys.
Okay, so depending on if the Cowboys sit players, it's possible they could win that game.
Mm-hmm.
So just for fun, we're going to say that the 49ers and the Eagles lock those last 2. So now we're looking at the third wild card spot with the Vikings. Wow. Vikings. Oh, wait, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So because we got Cardinals.
The way this website is looked, it blocks off whoever made the playoffs. So it includes the Cardinals, and then it puts in the hunt. And I thought in the hunt meant wild card as like 3. So that would be it if, say, the Eagles and 49ers win out.
Right. So do we think basically there's only 3 teams that have a chance to get in? Basically, Washington football team and down is basically out.
Yep. Vikings is the only other one that I could see swooping.
Yeah. I don't see Falcons beating the Bills this week. And then Saints. Well, what about the Saints, though?
No, not with Ian Book.
Well, no. Taysom Hill is back now. I mean,
I don't think so.
But 2 games ago, before this COVID stuff, I know they just lost to the Dolphins 20-3, but they beat the Buccaneers 9-0. That's not easy to do. So it's not much out of their reach to beat the Panthers and beat the Falcons.
That's an uncharacteristic game by the Bucs, though. I don't think that's the Saints. The Saints kind of have their number during the regular season, but I mean, I don't know. There's no real momentum going in with the Saints. It's just kind of they'd have to win out, and they'd have to need the Eagles or 49ers to lose one.
Right.
49ers play who the last game?
Well, they play Texans this week and then Rams.
Okay. It's so tough to grade that week 18 because you don't know who's sitting starters.
Right. But I'd assume that, let's just say the Cowboys beat the Cardinals this week. They'll go 12-4. Let's say the Packers beat the Vikings. They'll be 13-3. And then the Rams win, and if they beat the Ravens, they'll be 12-4 as well. And Buccaneers will beat the Jets, so that's 12-4. The thing is, how much do these teams care about winning, the Cowboys and Rams, so that the Buccaneers don't jump them, so that they have to play the Cardinals? Basically, how scared are they that they're going to drop to that 4th division spot and play the Cardinals in the first week of the playoffs?
Well, I know for a fact the Rams don't want. Oh, yeah, I don't think you want to play a divisional team.
So in that case, we would say the Rams aren't going to rest people. They're going to play the 49ers in week 18 with full strength. They're going to want to win that.
Yeah. Yep. And the Cowboys, depending on if the Packers lose, could have a chance at a first round bye. Right. But who wins the tiebreaker, I wonder.
Yeah.
You'll never know. But so everyone could have a shot at something in that week 18.
Literally any of these 4 teams could get the bye in the first round, but all of them could have the possibility to get that 4th wild card spot and play the or a 4th divisional spot and play the Cardinals in the first round. So it doesn't sound to me like any of them are going to rest people.
No, I don't think so. Which is okay, because the Eagles right now, I mean, for a fact Packers are going to beat the Vikings.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen.
So I feel like this is already locked in, as long as the Eagles can take care of business against the Washington football team.
Well, okay. Oh, true. Well,
because then Eagles could possibly go 8-9, and the Vikings could possibly go 8-9 as well. And I don't know what the tiebreaker is between them.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we have to assume that the Eagles are going to be able to beat Washington this week, right? They're definitely going to.
I think they should.
Yeah, they definitely should be able to. So
it's tough. It's like you want to say something is like 100%, like Chargers beating Houston. And then you're like, oh, Houston just won. So it's like there's no guarantees in the NFL.
Okay. So how about this? Let's take it. Let's try to predict the games this week out of these few teams, and then let's go from there. So 49ers are playing the Texans.
For the 49ers.
Win. Yeah, we know we're pretty sure 49ers will win. Eagles play Washington. That's win.
Win for the Eagles.
Okay. So now 49ers and Eagles are both 9-7. Now
that puts the Vikings out of reach. Would it not?
Right.
Because they're going to lose one.
Right. So let's say Vikings lose to the Packers. That's 7-9. They would be out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Falcons, they'll lose to the Bills.
They're out.
Okay. What about Saints? Let's say Saints are going to beat the Panthers at home. Okay. They'll go 8-8. So that means all the Saints have to do is win the last game against the Falcons and hope that either the 49ers lose to the Rams or the Eagles lose to the Cowboys, which is both entirely possible. And then the Saints would go 9-8 and those two teams would be 9-8. And who gets the tiebreaker?
Who does? I don't know.
So that's the only thing. I do think the Vikings are out because they would lose. There's no way they could go into Lambeau this week and win, but it's very unlikely.
Well, if I had to guess, you think we'll go with the remaining schedule. Looks like the Saints could sneak in.
They could, yeah.
But I can't trust them. Even against Carolina, I don't think I can trust them. So
True.
I'm gonna stay with the 49ers, Eagles making the last two spots.
I would probably lean that way as well.
Okay. That's fair. And that's good. Give the Eagles a good playoff game.
Yeah. Well, which would be interesting because as it stands now, Cowboys would play Eagles.
Oh. So it's possible that you could have a Rams Cardinals and a Cowboys Eagles.
Oh, two divisional.
And no NFC South team would make it. Wow.
Right.
Wow. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be, dude, wild card weekend is going to be the best weekend.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
It's going to be so fun.
100%. Because, I mean, for the NFC, it'll be a little interesting, but I feel like it'll play out how the seeding plays out. But for the NFC, this year, any team has beaten any team. It's been in any given Sunday. Like, there's no team. So the Colts beat the Patriots, right? But then the Patriots lose to the Bills, but then the Bills just beat the Patriots, and the Bengals beat the whoever. But then the Chiefs lost to the freaking Chargers. Then the Chargers just lost to the Chiefs, and the Raiders or whatever. It's like everyone has lost to everybody in this AFC.
Yeah.
At least for the NFC, you got the Packers, you got the Cowboys, pretty top consistent teams.
Right.
I'm intrigued. I think the next episode, well, after these 2 weeks, and then it'll be playoffs. I'm really excited to see how our brackets will play out.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the bracket episode. That's going to be so fun.
You could go with the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady thing, or you could go with, I know who Jonathan's going to pick all the way.
Well, I'm interested to, do you really think he's going to have him going to the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. He's delusional.
I think he's definitely going to have him in the NFC Championship game, but I'm interested to see if he thinks they'll go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it.
They're good. I mean, honestly, I can't have him win fantasy and have the Cowboys win in the same year.
Oh yeah, that would be too much good stuff for him.
That would be too much. I don't think we could survive.
Yeah, we would not hear the end of it for the next year.
He'd get his own Lombardi trophy.
He'd buy himself a Lombardi trophy.
Oh yeah. 100%. Oh man. Well, it looks like we'll wrap up this podcast. I guess Caleb couldn't make it. That's okay. We'll have him on the next one. No worries at all. I guess we can go through some housekeeping. So obviously we did end up getting our TikTok back. So make sure you go follow at Dorm Debate Podcast. Go follow the Instagram at Dorm Debate Podcast, because when the TikTok was banned, John actually went live over on Instagram. So we started posting videos to Instagram and he went live. So that is going to be our most reliable platform next to YouTube. You go subscribe to the YouTube down below. And yeah, it sucked to have TikTok gone, but it was really great that we were able to have Instagram live. We had about 700 people, or you had about 700 people. And it went well. I think the chat ran smooth. You got your picks off. It didn't lag at all. So thankfully we had a nice backup. But just in case the TikTok does get banned again, we fingers crossed it doesn't. But just in case, we don't know what we did, the Instagram is the most reliable. So make sure you're following on that so that you can stay up to date with fantasy picks and any of our episodes that are coming out for the podcast. As far as content coming up, we have John's Fantasy Football Show that will be back this week, Saturday morning. Yeah, it's gonna do his thing. Okay. I don't know why it's come on, man. So yes, we have his Fantasy Football Show coming out on Saturday. Now he's doing his live show on Sunday on TikTok. What else is going on? Probably some content from the Giants Cowboys game. So as I said before, we shot interviews in the during the tailgate. We shot a bunch of YouTube videos at the Airbnb that we were at, as well as we shot a full length. Oh my God, it probably was our longest podcast yet, but it was about I think it was 2.5 hours. I hate
No
to say
way.
it. I think it was 2.5 when I.
Please tell me we didn't go that long.
I think it might have been 2.5. It was like an Avengers movie, man. That's how long it was. You might have to sit down and you might fall asleep during it, but it's our how we met video and how Dorm Debate was created. It's actually pretty cool. The story of how we met is
how
very
we met
interesting.
And how Dorm Debate came about.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. I don't know. It was interesting for us because we lived it, but I feel like for anybody else, it'd be like, that's such a coincidental like thing to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout for all of those. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us. I know everyone on TikTok was like, where were you guys? It's playoffs. Where you guys at? What happened?
Yeah.
So
a lot of people.
I know for you, John, since you do fantasy, that it was kind of hard because it's playoffs and we weren't able to connect with the 150,000 followers. There's really no way for us to say anything. It didn't even say that we were banned. So people just thought we just left them out to dry.
Yeah, people just thought we just forgot about them and didn't care anymore.
Yeah, which is not the case.
No,
not at all. But yeah, so what else? I think that's it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking by us.
I do want to shout out, as you guys probably know, John Madden, the GOAT, just passed away. They had a documentary on him called All Madden that was on Christmas Day, and I do have it. You can't barely see it.
Oh wow!
It's a
I see it.
It's a John Madden signed Raiders helmet.
No way.
He coached the Raiders for 10 years. It's not mine. It's my uncle's. He's a big Raiders fan. And he's like, oh, I have this helmet. He's like, why don't you feature it on your podcast and just put it in the background? So shout out to him for helping me out. And also to John Madden, amazing career, amazing broadcaster. We all know his voice by, the video game and, his name on the cover and everything. Just, great broadcaster and just did so much for the football community. So
there's really no NFL name that like you think of besides John Madden. When you think of football, you think of Madden, obviously the video game, but then it's like you think of just John Madden, winningest coach in the NFL's history. Like, and it's so sad that like the documentary just came out Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So, I mean, I know his family was saying that they're thankful that he was able to see the documentary in its entirety.
That was amazing to be able to see that and probably have people reach out to him and just congratulate him and everything. And then he passed away, I think 3 days after Christmas. So,
yep. And, I'm wearing my Michigan stuff because Michigan plays Georgia in the college football playoffs on Friday. But an interesting fact, I don't know if you know this, but John Madden's grandson, Jesse Madden, I think that's his first name. Yeah, Jesse Madden is one of the quarterbacks for Michigan.
No way.
Yeah, he walked on and he's on the team. So he's been traveling in with a team and whatnot. He's like fourth or fifth string, but it's a walk on. But yeah, it was a little cool fact that I found out like week 2 or 3 I think John Madden had commented on like our offensive line.
Mhm.
They were like, yeah, and his grandson Jesse Madden is quarterback on the team. I was like, no
Wow.
way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
I hope Michigan can pull out a win for him and his grandfather.
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Hopefully they get it done. I'm all locked in Friday. Like you won't, dude.
Well, we got to record our fantasy show.
I
But
know.
other than that,
I'll be wearing the same thing, but same jersey, same Denard Robinson jersey, same hat. I mean, this is the biggest game ever for Michigan.
biggest game for Michigan since you've been alive.
Yeah, since I've been alive.
Wow.
We won the championship in 97. I was born in 98. It's been downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, but I guess if anyone's made it this far, you can comment go blue. If anyone does that, I'll Venmo. No, just kidding. Nah, never doing that again. 'Cause,
They wiped you clean the first time.
wiped me clean. Lost $100. No, one day. But yeah, thank you guys again for sticking with us. We're freaking so happy to be back, honestly, to get back in the groove for this home stretch of the NFL season, home stretch of the fantasy season. Sad that it's ending, but we're so thankful that we're able to grow this channel so much in just a short span of time. So thank you guys so much for that. And we will see you guys for John's Fantasy Football Show on Saturday. Thanks, guys.